All right, so today we are working on this Mack dump truck for a customer of mine. What we got here is this brake chamber is leaking from the service side. Unfortunately, it has a very short rod. None of mine that I carry on the truck are threaded this short. So what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna put a piggyback on it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get in here and we're gonna get these air lines off and get this chamber caged. I'm already working on caging the other one. I don't have an actual piggyback with me, so I'm just going to take apart one of mine. So what you want to do is remove this airline, which they actually have two different kinds on this one, probably from a previous repair. And then you'll cage this, and then you'll remove these two bolts, and you'll pull that off. We will also keep the spring, this initial spring, from pushing back anymore and trying to pull the brakes back. So let me get some more tools over here, and we'll catch up here in just a minute. Unfortunately, the caging spot is damaged on this particular brake chamber. So we are going to do it the way that no one should do it, which is I'm going to remove the clamp, stay as far out of the way as possible, and get it out of there. But we really don't have another choice. So we are going to full send it out of here. I'm gonna grab a ratchet, start bringing that off a little bit. I'd like to mention again, this is 1000% not the way to do this, but we're kind of in a pickle here. You want to keep your face as far away from this thing as possible, because it is going to shoot off at 1,000,000 miles an hour, approximately. Yeah, she's about to go. There it goes. And like I said, this is dangerous, because it not the correct way to do this, but we're kind of stuck. Yeah, this is not going to be pretty. No, sir. See? Told you. They shoot up fast. They do not play around. So, there's your bomb. Removed. Now, this spring in here is pretty easy to overcome. Yeah, it ain't no big deal. But we'll get the new brake chamber undone. Catch up here shortly. Okay, so now we have our piggyback separated from our main chamber. Did the same thing, except for we were able to cage this one. Caged it together. We took the band off, which just has a 14mm hex on one side. The other side is an anchor. Run that out, and then that will allow this to come off. There is not, everybody acts like, you know, if you undo a brake chamber, you're gonna die. This spring does not have that much force. Like in the vehicle, I have this, it's just chilling. You know, there's not that much spring pressure. What will kill you is this band. If you undo this band without this caged, or, I mean, really, there's no reason to take this apart, period, caged or not. There is a significant amount of pressure in here. I don't know the exact number. I just know you're not gonna be happy if it comes off at your face. So we run the brake chamber back, which on this one, that is a square 5/16. But then you also have to come over here and you have to pull this out. I use a pair of dikes like this. I take my dikes and I come in here. I got them upside down. I take my dikes out. If I could not look like a fool and hit the wrong spot, because I'm doing this without being able to see it. Oh, come on. I've put everything in my own way. Take the dikes, give her a little wiggle, and that'll hold them out. When you hold that out, you're able to run that nut clockwise, which backs the brakes off. Once you get the brakes backed off, now we can come in and put our pancake section in on here. So I'll get back to you in just a moment. Okay, so we have our piggyback on here. We've already rotated our airline fittings to face the correct direction. Now we need to tighten our 2 clamp bolts. For, again, 14mm or 9/16. Ease up on one. Down here on the other. And you want to get these pretty tight. That will hold that on there. Now, with the brakes caged, we can go ahead and adjust like it would be if we just release the brakes. And yeah, it's raining and it's miserable. So, what you want to do, you're going to go ahead and run them in, which is counterclockwise. And what I found, instead of, you know, breaking out measuring devices and everything, I've done these at weigh stations and stuff where DOTs shut them down for being out of adjustment. You literally run them down until they stop. We will get here shortly. Almost there. Make sure they're up. Now, with those fully depressed, come in here, bump your release mechanism back out, and run it back in 1/2 of a turn. And we'll make sure, again, all the way touching, because I'm paranoid. Yep, that's full seat. And then we'll just come in, that's 1/4. And that's 1/2. Let go. And you have adjusted the brakes. Let me get my 19mm here and we'll run that caging bolt off. We'll take your 19. I have a caging bolt socket, but I've left it at my shop. Start to run this off. Sometimes you gotta change angles because you start to get miserable. It is tight. You know, you have to think you're letting this back down. All the spring pressure back down. And we're free. You just want to back this nut off. What you have to do, this stem, the caging bolt, goes in a slot that twists. It's a little T-bolt. And that's what you use to release. I like to throw the cap back on. Now we'll get these airlines back on, and then we will test it and see how she works. All right, so now we're down in here, and we're gonna put our airlines back on. So unfortunately, the swivel, no swivel on this one. We're gonna load it up with our completely obliterated pipe thread sealer here. I've had this tube for about 8 years now. And I've actually bought a new tube, but I keep finding more remaining in this. So, you know, I'm gonna keep using it. So what we gotta do, because the swivel doesn't work, we undid the swivel up here, which is just like kind of a JIC connection. And we will run her in. And our swivel broke loose, kind of. Get her twisted. And yes, me doing roadside repair, as much as I hate to admit it, an adjustable is your absolute best friend. Because there are so many instances where a few minutes, especially like, you know, say I'm on the side of the interstate. I happen to be in a customer's lot today. But say I'm on the side of the interstate. You know, do I want to run back and forth to my truck 5-10 times to get the exact wrenches? I mean, most of the time I know, and you know a lot of people are like that. They know what size stuff is. But if I can avoid running back and forth what feels like an endless amount of times with traffic whizzing by, I'm gonna take that opportunity. And a lot of people will disagree because, you know, everybody makes fun of adjustables. I make fun of adjustables. But at the end of the day, if it gets me back home to my family safe, I'm probably going to utilize it. Now we're starting to swivel down here, finally. I guess all the rain has broke loose the mud. we're able to get somewhere. And again, these don't require any type of sealant because they are a flared fitting. So no sealant required on flared fittings. You can put, there's a type of Loctite you can put in, you know, in case you're in a vibration-rich environment where you're having issues with them coming undone. This push to connect wouldn't come undone, but luckily, push to connect naturally internally swivels. So, just a little on there. And I'm getting soaking wet right now, even with this dump bed up. This is soaking me. My pants are wet. It's part of it though, part of it. All right, our brake chamber is installed. Got that on. Now we're gonna test it as soon as I can get myself out from in between these tires. Got that. We have our old pieces left down here, and all that's left is we're just going to test it, make sure everything is good. We've got no more leaks, no other leaks left on the truck, and then I'm going to lower the dump body for the customer, move it back into its parking spot, and then they'll have their truck back. All right, thanks guys.